Hello and welcome into another edition of The Final Drive here on DMVSTREAM.COM. I'm Jeremy Huber, bringing you up to date on everything going on in the world of high school sports. So much going on today, so much to get to you. Glad we could be here on the show with you this week as we get you up to date on what is going on in the world of high school sports and high school football, I should say, when it comes to the district, Maryland and Virginia. It's playoff week. Everybody's starting their playoffs this week. Some, of course, that don't do playoffs, they have big regular season finales, but it's most teams into the playoffs this week, and we've got, I believe, all the local scores to get you up to date on. Remember, if you've got a comment, a concern, a score maybe we don't have, send it along to us via DMV Stream. Hashtag it with the Final Drive. Again, do use Twitter. That's DMV Stream, and hashtag it with the Final Drive. Well, let's go ahead and start right at the top. The number one team in the area was in action tonight as DeMatha took on Good Counsel. Of course, DeMatha, the top seed in the WCAC playoffs. Again, they faced off with Good Counsel. They played last week, somewhat of a close game, though DeMatha pulled away at the end. This one a little too close for Elijah Brooks's comfort, the head coach of the Stags, as Good Counsel held a lead in this contest into the fourth quarter, and then DeMatha turned it on. They end up getting a touchdown pass from Bo English to wide receiver Delonte Helms. Helms' second touchdown of the game. Helms would get another touchdown catch with 3:54 to go. So Helms go-ahead score at the 6:17 mark. And then Helms with the little catch to go ahead and give us some cushion to DeMatha at 3:57. So bang, bang, two scores there. Again, this game was tied at the half. And actually, Good Counsel had the 7-0 lead before DeMatha tied it right before the half, actually 7 seconds before. So that made it a 21-13 game, as Good Counsel actually had scored a touchdown to get back into the game. DeMatha ends up getting the lead at 21-13, extending their lead. Then Chase Young with a fumble return for a touchdown at the to make it 28-13. So those quick back-to-back touchdowns, the Helms touchdown catches third of the game, and then the Chase Young fumble recovery for a touchdown with just really about 20 seconds apart does Good Counsel in as DeMatha gets the 28-13 win. They move on to the championship game of the WCAC as, again, the Stags looking to keep their mark on the season. Again, they are undefeated in the WCAC play, and the Stags, of course, gunning for another great season here. The Stags looking to finish their season unbeaten as they're 11-0 on the year. Really no one besides St. John's has truly come close to them. Of course, Gonzaga, Good Counsel, 10-point win over Gonzaga, a 14-point win over Good Counsel. But really the Stags have kind of flexed their muscles this year, but had a really tough time today. Almost end up on the ropes, but DeMatha comes through. They beat Good Counsel again, 28-13. The Stags will go ahead and face off in next week's WCAC championship game with the winner of the St. John's Gonzaga matchup. Gonzaga hosts that one as the number 2 seed as they beat St. John's last week. Again, both WCAC semifinals are rematches of the final games of the season. That's a 2:30 start in D.C., just off I Street, as the Eagles will host the Cadets in that contest. A couple other games, a few games from last night on in the Stripes Division semifinals of the DCIAA. It was top-seeded Bell beating Cardozo, while number 2 seed Theodore Roosevelt routed McKinley 44-0. They will move on to face off in the Gravy Bowl next week. Your DCIA Stars Division semifinals, those are on Saturday. Eastern will be at HD Woodson in a 7 o'clock game. The Woodson Warriors, your top seed, second-seeded Wilson will host Ballou. That is a 3 p.m. game. Your DCSA Class A semifinals also tomorrow. The top-seeded Murray will take on Richard Wright at 11 a.m. Modell and Kip will face off at 2 p.m. Also, some other action tomorrow. Your Vista semifinals, they involve a local team in Flint Hill. They will host Benedictine at 1 o'clock tomorrow. The other half of the bracket, Collegiate and Norfolk Academy. Some regular season games tomorrow as well. It'll be Silver Oak Academy at Friendship Collegiate. Of course, Friendship trying to stay tuned up for their run, possibly through the DCSAA playoffs. St. Albans at Landon tomorrow at 1:30. Big one for Episcopal tomorrow. They will take on a longtime rival Woodbury Forest as the Maroon look to finish off an unbeaten season. That'll be a 2 o'clock game down near in Orange, Virginia. Elsewhere tonight, it was Bullis over Georgetown Prep by a score of 14-7. Spalding with a nice way to cap off their phenomenal season as they beat Mount St. Joseph's 55-20. Let's go ahead and get into your playoff action tonight, your other playoff action. In Maryland, we start in 4A West, where number 1 seed Quince Orchard with a big win tonight. They beat Montgomery Blair 35-7 as the Cougars move on. They will take on next Richard Montgomery as the Rockets finally get the monkey off their back when it comes to the Northwest as they beat the Jaguars 28-13 tonight. Richard Montgomery, both their losses last year coming to the Jaguars. Their only loss of the year this year coming to the Jaguars, but when it counts, Richard Montgomery gets the win this time as they beat Northwest again at 28-13. So it'll be Richard Montgomery and Northwest next week in your 4A West title game in Maryland. Then 4A South, Wise again flexes their muscles. They stay unbeaten as the top seed all over 4 seed Duval 54-7. The winner of tomorrow's matchup between C.H. Flowers and Eleanor Roosevelt will face the Pumas next. Roosevelt hosts that one in a 1 o'clock start. 4A North had a bit of a shocker as top seed Sherwood goes down to Baltimore's Mervo 30-20. So the Warriors out of the playoffs again. I believe they had a short run last year going down to Howard, and Howard will move on as they beat Bel Air tonight 41-14. Of course, the Lions got to the state championship game last year. Most folks think of not as good this year. Of course, they fell during the regular season this year to Glenelg, but Howard will again host the 4A North championship game. They will host Mervo next week with that 41-14 win over Bel Air. In 4A East, it was top seed Old Mill almost getting upset again by Broadneck. Remember last year, the Patriots went in as the top seed. Broadneck came in as the 4 seed, and Rob Harris's guys shocked the Patriots. But this time around, Chad McCormick's crew comes through as they beat Broadneck 17-14 in overtime. So the Patriots will move on. They will face off with second seed Annapolis as the Panthers beat North Point 45-21. Cameron Hugh had a huge game tonight for the Panthers. So that's a rematch of the final game of the regular season, won by Old Mill in close fashion. Annapolis will look for some revenge as they will travel to Old Mill next week for the 4A East championship game. In 3A West, number 1 seed Damascus, of course, high up in the Washington Post poll. The Swarming Hornets, no blowout tonight, but still a win as they beat 4 seed Leonore 21-7. Eric Wallach's crewed out with 25 straight wins. The Swarming Hornets will get number 2 Oakdale as they beat Tuscarora 40-28. 3A South, your games are tomorrow. It'll be number 1 seed Oxon Hill hosting Rockville in a 1 p.m. start, while number 2 seed Potomac will host Blake in a 1 p.m. start. 3A North, North Hartford and Milford Mill. Milford Mill, your top seed. That is a 1 o'clock game tomorrow. Number 2 seed Franklin beat Dundalk 39-0. 3A East, an upset there as top-seeded Longreach goes down to River Hill as the Lightning fall to the Hawks 20-14. Brian Van Dusen's crew pulling the upset there. It will be that benefits Glenelg as Butch Schaefer's Gladiators win tonight over 3 seed Wild Lake 21-3. So Glenelg will host Wild Lake next week in their matchup in Maryland. It'll be the 3A East championship game. No scores in for our 2A West games. We'll get you those in a little bit. Shouldn't not that big of a deal, at least not right now. But it'll be, of course, it could be, as you see some of the teams in 2A in Maryland. That includes Patuxent, the top seed in 2A South. They're a winner tonight over 4 seed Lackey, 28-14. So Patuxent moves on. They will face longtime rival Calvert. As Calvert, again, sometimes tough for those teams down in that area to take on some of the teams from up in Prince George's County. Not the case tonight, as Calvert got a late run at them by 3rd seed Gwynn Park, but the Cavaliers with the win 42-28. They beat Gwynn Park to advance to a 2A East, 2A South, title game with Patuxent. Only other real local squad in action in the Maryland playoffs tonight. Fairmont Heights goes down to defeat. They fall to top seed in 1A North, Havre de Grace, 48-34. So Fairmont Heights out of it there. And that is really your rest of your look at what is going on when it comes to Maryland's playoffs. Of course, a lot of other teams, one other team of local import in that. It'll be 2nd seed Surrattsville. They're in action tomorrow as they host McDonough in a 1 p.m. start. We're going to take a quick break. We'll get back and get you up to date on what happened in Virginia's playoffs tonight. We will also, after the break, we'll hear from the head coach of the Richard Montgomery Rockets, Josh Klotz, talking about his team's big win over Northwest tonight. We will do that all coming up right after this. Remember, if you want to get at us, do it via Twitter. DMV Stream, hashtag it with the Final Drive. Again, that's DMV Stream, hashtag it with the Final Drive. We'll be right back here on the Final Drive. For some of the best barbecue in the area, well then come on down to Monk's. Monk's Barbecue has all your favorites: delicious pulled pork, tender moist brisket, and dry rubbed ribs that just fall off the bone, as well as specialty items like pulled chicken, pastrami, and Kansas City burnt ends. Add in delicious sides like Monk's special baked beans, smoked Gouda mac and cheese, vinegar coleslaw, and many more, and you can't get any better. That's Monk's Barbecue in the heart of Loudoun County, online at monksq.com. That's monks and the letter Q.com. And go to their Facebook page to find out more about their live music and drinks. DMVSTREAM.com produces live broadcasts for professional, semi-pro, and amateur sporting events, as well as colleges, universities, high schools, AAU, and youth tournaments in the Mid-Atlantic. With a client list that includes ESPN, The Washington Post, Monumental Sports Network, CBS.com, USAFootball.com, USLacrosse.org, NCAA.com, the National Federation of High School Sports, and Georgetown University, among others. Synthesis Multimedia has emerged as the Mid-Atlantic's top provider of sports multimedia. Contact us today to learn more about streaming your events live. Are you a fan of high school sports? Does high school sports attract the type of customers you want for your business? If so, then consider advertising here on The Final Drive. The Final Drive on DMVStream.com is a weekly show dedicated to high school football in the District, Maryland, and Virginia. We update scores and talk to the movers and shakers from Friday night's top games, and we preview the big matchups from Saturday's action. So consider being a part of The Final Drive. For more information about advertising on The Final Drive, contact Jeremy Huber at jrh0001@gmail.com. That's jrh0001@gmail.com.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to an all-new season of Top Plays here at OleMetSports.com and WashingtonPost.com. I'm your host, BJ Kubarulis. Now, as we've done the past 4 seasons, we're continuing our exciting interactive high school football show. show that allows you, the coaches, players, parents, and fans, and others, to send in your video submissions for ranking in our Top 10 style weekly show. If you want to see your highlight in this show, well, it's as simple as tweeting your boy. I'm at BJ Coop. You got to remember to hashtag it, Ole Mets. All right, you can tweet in your Huddle, YouTube, Vimeo, really any video link by Sundays at noon, and we'll consider it for use in the upcoming episode of Top Plays. Now, you got to remember to tune in on Mondays to see if your video made our Top 10 at allmetsports.com. We'll see you soon.
And welcome back into the final drive here on DMVSTREAM.com. We'll get you up to date on what happened tonight in Virginia in their playoffs. But first, I want to go ahead and check in with the coach of a big winner tonight, Richard Montgomery, as the Rockets able to beat Northwest. Again, after losing to them twice last year, losing to them once earlier this year, the Rockets beat Northwest by a score of 28-13. Had a chance to catch up with their head coach earlier tonight, Josh Klotz. Well, Josh, I think back when I think of your up-and-coming team going up against Northwest, a power in the area for so long. Tonight's win, it's that NFL Films moment where Steve Young looks back at Gary Plummer and says, "Take the monkey off my back." Is that the way your Rockets are feeling right now, considering so many times they've kind of stood in your way over the last 2 years?
I think somewhat. I think, the kids didn't use that expression. We didn't. I think it was more about ourselves and just really focusing on playing a complete four quarters. We felt last year we played, great second half against them. Earlier this year, we felt like we played a great first three quarters. So that was really the focus all week, was playing a consistent four quarters and minimizing our mistakes. And our kids did that. And, they came up big.
Yeah, they come up with the 28-13 win. Coach Klotz, who are some folks that caught your eye during the game? Who are some guys that helped you get this win?
Some key guys, did you say?
Yes.
First, our captain, our team leader, Ty Hebron, at running back and linebacker. He played every snap of defense. He got all except a couple carries on offense. I don't have his exact stats, but I know it was around 300 yards. He ran for 130 in the first half. Put him over 2,000 for the year. And our last drive went on a 99-yard drive at the end of the game to seal it. And he had 66 of those yards himself. So definitely Ty Hebron. But then our offensive line, we struggled big time earlier this year to run the ball. And our offensive line with our tight ends, Avery Reeves and Zyra Mitchell-Payton. And then our center, Nick Wissinger, New Shafshar, Shaq Adu, Adam Shankar, and Junior Adu. They stepped up big and opened holes for Ty all night long. Then just our entire defense. They've come a long way since the beginning of the season. We got some talented guys there, and they've really gelled over the last few weeks. They gave up a couple big plays for two big touchdowns, but other than that, they came up with some huge fourth down stops and a couple turnovers.
Talking to Josh Klotz, the head coach of Richard Montgomery, his squad with a 28-13 win tonight over Northwest to advance in the Maryland 4A playoffs. You talk about Hebron and his big game tonight. I'm sure, there had to be a little bit in his mind and maybe the whole team's mind of, again, were they kind of driven by the way the season ended last year going up against Northwest? Or like you said, was it just a matter of, hey, we know what we can do. We want to see where we can go and take this thing?
Yeah, definitely. And, this is what we did last year. We went 9-1, and then we faced Northwest in the playoffs. And our kids, there's a lot of doubt of these kids after we lost a lot of our playmakers from last year. We lost 22 seniors, and there's a lot of doubt what these kids could do. And they wanted to take the next step forward. RM hadn't won a playoff game since 2001. These guys starting tonight who weren't even born then. So, they wanted to take the program, a step in the right direction, and they definitely came through and did that tonight.
Obviously, they have. Now, Coach, I think a lot of folks, again, there, you guys kind of, I'm going to say you came out of nowhere, but obviously over the last few years, your program has really come on. What have you looked to do to kind of take this program where it is right now, where you're a team that is competing in the playoffs and is winning playoff games? Where it has kind of been the evolution of this program under your watch?
I mean, I'd say the biggest thing is really developing leadership and developing kids who just have the overwhelming desire to win, not just on Friday nights, but starting with our off-season program on January 2nd, and just getting them to believe that their hard work and their will to prepare to win over the spring and winter, spring, summer months, paid big dividends during the season, and they bought into that. And we saw some minor successes the first couple of years, and then big steps last year, and obviously big steps this year.
Coach Klotz, we've got to ask you, move on now. You're going to take on a quality Quince Orchard program. Talk about what it's like to go ahead in that matchup coming up with the Cougars.
Yeah, I mean, I think our kids are excited. They get a chance to play for a regional championship. So they're excited. Obviously, QO is a great team, very well coached. They got some great players. We know them very well. Coach Wheeler, our defense coordinator, and I, we were at QO before we came here. So we know those coaches over there. We talk to them a lot in the off season. We talked to them this past week. I talked to a couple of them today before the game. So know each other pretty well, but we haven't faced each other on the field. So definitely personally looking forward to it. And our kids, I think they'll just be excited, go over there and compete for a regional championship.
And Coach, unlike Northwest, or again, you saw them in the playoffs last year, regular season. You're very familiar with the Jaguars. Do you like the fact it's a team that they don't see you guys that much? Obviously, you know each other, but just the players on the field don't see each other that much. Would you rather it be a team that you see a lot? Do you think maybe that gives you guys an advantage, as what most are going to think is the underdog, the fact that Kyo really hasn't seen you guys on the field?
Yeah, and it's also just fun, to prepare for a new team, watch film on a new team. We've seen, QO throughout the year. We have a bunch of common opponents. We've seen them some. We did passing league against them and stuff. So we're not totally unfamiliar, but it's definitely exciting to be playing a new opponent, somebody we haven't played in our 4 years here.
Well, most definitely, and I know, Coach Klotz, your guys are having some fun right now with a playoff win, 28-13 over Northwest. Josh Klotz, the head coach of the Richard Montgomery Rockets. Congratulations on the win, and thank you so much for joining us.
All right, thanks a lot, Jeremy.
Again, Josh Klotz doing some wonderful work at Richard Montgomery. He talked about it, the fact that, coming over from a really quality program in Quince Orchard, and he has been able to turn some things around over at Richard Montgomery. And again, they kind of get over the hump tonight with a big win, knocking off rival Northwest to get out of that first round of the playoffs. We'll see what they can do again as he takes on his old school in Quince Orchard, but I'm sure they are very happy, the Rockets, to do what they're able to do tonight. Well, let's go ahead and take a quick look at some of the scores over in Virginia. Remember, a lot more playoff games in Virginia. That's, as we know, they kind of expanded their playoffs where you have a lot more teams making it in. So it is interesting, again, kind of split a little bit bigger state than Maryland. So let's go ahead and focus on the locals right here. And some of the schools down in Prince William County having to play down into the southern part of the state. Hilton and Freedom of Woodbridge, those two teams in 6A, and both come up with defeats tonight. Second seed Colonial Forge over Hilton by a score of 23-0. So Hilton sees their season end with a 6-5 record. Of course, the 6A South region in Virginia split up by conferences. So Hilton falls. Freedom of Woodbridge, their storybook season comes to an end as they fell to Riverbend tonight by a score of 28-21. So the Eagles go down to defeat. 6A North tonight. It's very interesting, folks. We said all year long, this is a weird year, no real clear-cut favorite when it came to 6A North. All the Fairfax schools and a couple of the Prince William County schools in there as well, but said no clear favorite. Well, tonight it was the favorites all holding serve in 6A. All 8 higher seeds come away with wins. Let's run them down for you. Top seed Lake Braddock actually fell behind 16 seed Robinson 35-14. It's a local matchup there, but Lake Braddock responds with 35 straight points as they end up winning the game 35-14. Second seeded James Madison, they beat Washington Lee tonight 26-8. Third seed Westfield looking pretty good as they beat W.T. Woodson 45-7. Number 4 South Lakes avenging a loss from last year as they beat Oakton 54-14. It was 5th seed Centerville looking like they're rounding into a midseason form, or postseason form, I should say, as the Wildcats with a 57-0 win over Mount Vernon tonight. 6th seed South County, they rallied from some early issues, had a big punt block in that contest as they beat 11 seed Battlefield 34-12. It was 7th seed West Potomac beating TC Williams tonight 26-0 in that contest. A little bit of bad news as it was as we saw had Ellis, the standout quarterback for West Potomac, went down in that contest. Did have a backup come on. He played very, very well. Tanner Jones playing very well, in fact. But again, that would be big for West Potomac going forward if they will not see any more of Ellis, because obviously very good quarterback. And it'll be interesting to see what Mark Ellis if he can come back in. I had a head injury in the first quarter, so it'll be interesting. West Potomac, of course, would have a matchup next week with James Madison. Very winnable contest, a matchup with Madison, I think, for West Potomac, but I'd love to have Mark Ellis back under center for that contest. And the team that came closest to losing out of those top 8 seeds, that'd be the Hayfield Hawks, but Hayfield rallies late and beats 9 seed Patriot 30-26. So again, in a year where seeming like everybody could beat everybody, the top 8 seeds all advancing tonight in the 6A North playoffs in Virginia. Let's go to 5A North, where we saw top-seeded Massaponax drill 16 seed Marshall 77-34. Elsewhere, it was 2 seed Brook Point beating Mountain View 47-21. Stonebridge with a weird game tonight as the Bulldogs trailed Atlee by a score of 3-0 at the half. Yes, 3-0. Then Mickey Thompson's crew rallied in the second half to score 38 as they beat Atlee by a score of 38-10. Elsewhere, 4 seed Potomac Falls, a winner tonight over Orange County, 28-7. The Panthers with 28 unanswered points after going down 7-0. Albemarle, the 5th seed, beat 12 seed Falls Church, 31-21. It is Albemarle's first playoff win since 1997 as Falls Church sees their season end at a 7-4 mark. 6 seed Broad Run, a winner tonight in a rematch of their regular season finale, beating Tuscarora 42-21. Another big night for Meech Hembry in that contest. It was number 10 North Stafford pulling the upset on Patrick Henry of Roanoke. The 7th seed goes down 44-21. It was 8 seed Patrick Henry of Ashland beating 9 seed Briar Woods 53-28. So a season again where Briar Woods, with such a tough schedule, arguably the toughest in the area, they fall in that contest 53-28 in their season at 5-7. Other notables tonight, 4A West. Remember, that's where you see the buys. Top 4 seeds in 4A West all get buys. Woodgrove, your top seed. William Byrd of the Roanoke area. And Salem, your 2 and your 3. Dominion of Sterling, they are the number 4 seed. So in 4A West, 4 playoff games tonight in that region in Virginia. It was 5 seed Amherst beating Pulaski County 49-28. Number 6 seed Millbrook beat Loudoun Valley 45-14 to end the Vikings season. Number 7 seed George Washington upset by Heritage of Leesburg 39-36. It's the first playoff win in school history for the Pride. We will hear from the head coach of the Heritage Pride, Reed Prosser, coming up in moments, so stay tuned for that. 8 seed Charlottesville winner tonight over John Champ 48-20. So Champ goes down to defeat their season end in the first round. Only other real local team of import, it was the 3-seed Brentsville, a winner tonight as they beat Thomas Jefferson of Richmond 51-0. So big one for the Tigers as they go ahead and get the win. Brentsville would be looking at a matchup with either James Monroe or George Wythe. Of course, that game tonight will get you a little update on that one, let you know who the Tigers will be playing moving forward. But again, a big win for Brentsville as they move on in the 3A playoffs. And that's your look at the scoreboard. We'll run that down at least one more time throughout the night. But stay tuned. Coming up, we will check in with Reed Prosser, the head coach of the Heritage Pride. His team with a big win tonight, knocking off GW Danville for the first playoff win in school history. And Coach Prosser very happy with his team and their performance tonight. You will hear him coming up right after this here on The Final Drive. Looking for some of the best barbecue in the area? Well, then come on down to Monk's. Monk's Barbecue has all your favorites: delicious pulled pork, tender, moist brisket, and dry rubbed ribs that just fall off the bone, as well as specialty items like pulled chicken, pastrami, and Kansas City burn ends. Add in delicious sides like Monk's Special Baked Beans, smoked Gouda mac and cheese, vinegar coleslaw, and many more, and you can't get any better. That's Monk's Barbecue in the heart of Loudoun County, online at monksq.com. That's monks and the letter Q.com. And go to their Facebook page to find out more about their live music and drinks.
DMVSTREAM.com produces live broadcasts for professional, semi-pro, and amateur sporting events, as well as colleges, universities, high schools, AAU, and youth tournaments in the Mid-Atlantic. With a client list that includes ESPN, The Washington Post, Monumental Sports Network, CBS.com, USAFootball.com, USLacrosse.org, NCAA.com, the National Federation of High School Sports, and Georgetown University, among others, Synthesis Multimedia has emerged as the Mid-Atlantic's top provider of sports multimedia. Contact us today to learn more about streaming your events live.
Are you a fan of high school sports? Does high school sports attract the type of customers you want for your business? If so, then consider advertising here on The Final Drive. The Final Drive on DMVStream.com is a weekly show dedicated to high school football in the District, Maryland, and Virginia. We update scores and talk to the movers and shakers from Friday night's top games, and we preview the big matchups from Saturday's action. So consider being a part of The Final Drive. For more information about advertising on The Final Drive, contact Jeremy Huber at jrh0001@gmail.com. That's jrh0001@gmail.com.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to an all-new season of Top Plays here at allmetsports.com and WashingtonPost.com. I'm your host, BJ Cooper-Rules. Now, as we've done the past 4 seasons, we're continuing our exciting, interactive high school football show. A show that allows you, the coaches, players, parents, and fans, and others, to send in your video submissions for ranking in our Top 10 style weekly show. If you want to see your highlight in this show, well, it's as simple as tweeting your boy. I'm at BJ Coop. You got to remember to hashtag it, Ole Mets. All right, you can tweet in your Huddle, YouTube, Vimeo, really any video link by Sundays at noon, and we'll consider it for use in the upcoming episode of Top Plays. Now, you got to remember to tune in on Mondays to see if your video made our top 10 at allmetsports.com. We'll see you soon.
Welcome back in to the Final Drive here on DMVStream.com. Jeremy Huber here with you, running down the action when it comes to playoffs in Maryland, Virginia, the private schools as well. Also some action in D.C. as well. We will go ahead and take another run through that in just a moment. But first up, I want to talk. We had a chance to catch up earlier with the head coach of the Heritage Pride, Reed Prosser. Coach Prosser led his team to their first playoff win in school history. History dates back, I believe, to 2003. As the Pride knock off GW Danville. Again, that is in 4A West, the big region over when it at least comes to landmass. In Virginia, kind of stretches all the way from northern Virginia all the way down into Roanoke and Danville. So some long bus trips on that one. It was one tonight for the Pride, but they're able to persevere and get the win knocking off GW Danville by a count of 3 points, 39-36. And you got lots to talk about with Coach Prosser. Did it earlier on in the night. Again, Heritage head coach Reed Prosser here on the Final Drive. Well, Coach Prosser, Heritage High School's never had a playoff win before tonight. You guys able to go down to Danville and get one, knocking off George Washington 39-36. First off, congratulations on the win. How does it feel to bring that win in such spectacular fashion?
Well, I apologize for my voice because I basically don't have one now. But we won because our kids are resilient, because our kids believe in each other, and we were fortunate enough to make some plays at the end. G-Dub's a tremendous football team. Their tailback was phenomenal. And, our kids just made plays. There were a couple times where I thought we had the game lost. And there were a couple times where I thought we had the game won. And the kids just were able to get it done. We scored our winning touchdown with 22 seconds left and got the ball back with 4 minutes and just drove it all the way down and just made a couple plays. It was a phenomenal team effort on all sides of the ball. Our youngster kicked a game-winning field goal. We just did so many things and we came back from so many instances where we could have folded. And really a well-deserved win for all our kids. I'm proud of our kids. I'm proud of our school. I'm proud of our community. And it was a big day for Heritage High School.
Yeah, you talk about the community. You guys are the last Leesburg team playing, and that's a pretty cool feeling, I'm sure, for the rest of the guys there. Let's go back to that game-winning touchdown as Luke Schaub took it over for you, the winning touchdown, as you said, with about 22 seconds left. Talk about the play and talk about the feeling on the sidelines when he went over the goal line.
Well, we were driving the ball, and we got it. We made plays after plays after plays to get it down there. And then when we got it to about, the 15, we went into our heavy goal line stuff, and we had been smacking them at different times during the night, so we went back to that, and we just grinded out a first down, and we wanted to try to play both ends of the fence if we could. We wanted to burn clock, and we wanted to make sure we gave ourselves enough time to score. We had 3 timeouts in our pocket, so we really weren't worried about that, but we definitely were trying to bring this clock down some to make sure that they didn't have a bunch of time left. Didn't want to score too quick. I mean, when you get in a shootout game like this, it really turns into arena football where when you score, you want to make sure there's a limited amount of time left. And we were able to do that. The kids executed it really well, played great situational football. And what a great day to be a Heritage Pride.
Most definitely. Now, we've talked before, Coach, and I think you remember that I coached your quarterback, Alex Carlin, when he was a little guy. And obviously,
well, you did a hell of a job because he's a phenomenal football player.
I didn't do much with him. He was pretty good when I had him too. But it's funny, you guys had the close win against Champ where he took it in at the last second. A cool customer. Did you feel good in a game like that with a kid like that who's not going to be rattled when it comes down to late game situations?
I always feel good when Alex Carlin's behind center.
That's a pretty simple answer. Why is that?
Well, he is a spectacular player. He's been a 3-year starter in our system. He's a coach on the field. He made one of the most phenomenal runs tonight. And the first thing he said to Coach Bates tonight when he walked off the field was, "I missed the route." And we're saying, "Son, you just made a ridiculously athletic team look ridiculous. And now you're complaining because you read the wrong coverage? That's asinine." I mean, he's so hard on himself, but he wants to be the perfect player, which you can never be, but that's exactly why he is the perfect player. He threw 2 picks tonight, and he was resilient and came back and made plays for us the rest of the night. And, just wow. That's really all you can say is wow. He took a 5-hour bus ride, and then to come away with a win like this, that's spectacular.
Talking to Reed Prosser, head coach of the Heritage Pride, his squad with a 39-36 win over GW Danville tonight for the first playoff win in school history. Coach Prosser, you mentioned that 5-hour bus ride. You guys have a strange region, unlike a lot in Virginia, where it spreads all the way from Northern Virginia all the way down to the Virginia border. How do you approach that with high school kids, taking them on a bus for 5 hours and trying to keep their minds that they have to play a football game?
What you do is you embrace the challenge. You don't shirk from the challenge. Our team has grinded all year. Our team has never looked to take the easy way out all year. And so we talked about, you know what, this is a great opportunity to drive down here and play a quality football team and show different parts of the state what we're all about in Loudoun County. And really proud of the kids' effort tonight.
One last one for you, Coach. I know you got to get on the bus soon, but you take on William Byrd next. They had a bye. They're in the Roanoke area, so you've got another long bus ride. I guess, first off, do you know anything about the Terriers? And number two, do you feel maybe you got a little advantage, the fact that they're on bye and you guys have kind of got a little rhythm going by playing this week?
Well, I'd really like to just enjoy this for a little bit, but I do know they got a great tailback, and I do know they got really cool uniforms. So that's about it.
Well, I'm sure in the next few days you're going to learn all you can learn about William Byrd and get it to your team before that matchup next week. Reed Prosser, the head coach of the Heritage Pride, his team with the first playoff win in school history as they beat GW Danville 39-36 to win their playoff game tonight. Coach Prosser, thank you so much and congratulations.
Jeremy, thank you. I appreciate the call, and hopefully we'll get another one next week.
And Heritage will have a chance. That's definitely the case. They are playing some good football right now. And again, talk about Alex Carlin, a guy that, again, I know, as I said to Coach Prosser during that interview, but a very good quarterback there and a lot of confidence among him and his teammates, what they can do. So we'll see if they can go ahead and get an upset, keep things going in their season. Of course, let's go ahead and get back to our scores once again. We saw a lot of action tonight, as we mentioned before. Lot at Virginia, Maryland, both in action tonight in their playoffs, and some others as well. But let's start with WCAC semifinals, as it was top seed DeMatha kind of escaping a little bit as they were in a dogfight with Good Counsel. The Stags come away with a 28-13 win. Good Counsel had the lead in this one early on. DeMatha ends up getting a few scores, end up pulling away late. Big night for a few players in that one. But again, it was DeMatha, a late defensive score, kind of pulls away as they're able to go ahead and get the win. The big story of this one, though, with DeMarco Hellam's 3 touchdown catches in the contest for the sophomore receiver to help blow things open for DeMatha as they move on to a championship game showdown with either Gonzaga or St. John's. Those two will play tomorrow for the right to take on DeMatha in next week's championship game. Some other playoff action coming up. Yesterday, it was Bell with a win over Cardoza. So the top-seeded Griffins move on. They will take on Theodore Roosevelt, who routed McKinley yesterday 44-0. Your DCIA Stars Division semifinals are tomorrow. H.D. Woodson hosting Eastern, while Ballou is at Wilson. DCSAA Class A semifinals, that is on Saturday. Top seed Murray takes on Richard Wright in an 11 a.m. start. Modell will take on Kip in a 2 p.m. start. Remember, that side of the bracket ends up taking on the Gravy Bowl winner, so either Bell or Theodore Roosevelt in the Class A championship game. So those two sides will work through their playoffs, eventually facing off. Your VISA semifinals at your Virginia private schools. It's second seed Flint Hill hosts Benedictine tomorrow on a 1 o'clock start. Winner of that one gets the winner of top seed Collegiate and Norfolk Academy next week. Regular season action today. Tomorrow, Silver Oak Academy at Friendship Collegiate. Friendship getting ready for their run in the Class AA DCSA championships. Landon hosting St. Albans, their longtime rivalry game tomorrow at a 1:30 start. Episcopal looks to finish off a undefeated regular season as they take on longtime rival Woodbury Forest tomorrow on the road at 2. Bullis, a 14-7 win over Georgetown Prep tonight, while it was Calvert Hall beating Avalon tonight 34-6. Spalding with a big win as they beat Mount St. Joseph's in a rivalry game 55-20. Spalding takes second place in the MIAA Class A after falling to St. Francis in that close game last week. The Cavaliers rebound and get a win to finish off their season strong. Let's get over to Maryland and run down the local teams in the playoffs. There it was top-seeded Quince Orchard, a winner over Blair 35-7 in 4A West. The Cougars will face Richard Montgomery next as the Rockets beat 3-seed Northwest 28-17 28-13. It was number 1 seed Wise, again staying unbeaten in 4A South as they beat Duval 54-7. Pumas will host the winner of Eleanor Roosevelt and C.H. Flowers next week. Those two will face off tomorrow at Eleanor Roosevelt. Shocker in 4A North as top seed Sherwood goes down, falling to Mervo 30-20. Mervo of Baltimore. Mergenthaler Vocational Academy. Mergenthaler Vocational, for those who want their official name, but Mervo is what they usually go by. And they have the big win tonight over the Warriors. So Sherwood again bounced a little earlier than they thought from the playoffs in 4A North. That benefits Howard, who beat Sherwood last year. Howard ends up becoming the beneficiary as they beat 3 seed Bel Air tonight. So the 2nd-seeded Lions will go ahead and host Mervo next week with a spot in the Maryland Final Four on the line. 4A East, number 1 Ole Mill barely dodges the upset bid again from Broadneck. The 4-seeded Bruins almost pull it off again as Ole Mill wins in overtime 17-14. Remember, Broadneck knocked off top-seeded Ole Mill last year in the 4A East semifinals. This time the Patriots a winner. They advanced to a rematch with 2nd-seed Annapolis as Cameron Hugh had a big night as the Panthers routed North Point by a score of 45-21. Elsewhere, top seed in 3A West, Damascus beat Linganore 21-7 for the Swarman Hornets' 25th straight win. They will next face Oakdale, who beat Tuscarora 40-28 tonight. Elsewhere in 3A South, tomorrow, both games, it'll be Rockville at Oxon Hill, while it'll be Blake at 2-seed Potomac. Both those games, 1 o'clock starts. 3A North, Milford Mill hosts North Hartford tomorrow. Franklin beat Dundalk tonight 39-0. It was River Hill over Long Reach 20-14 in 3A East. So River Hill pulls the upset of the top-seeded Lightning or Long Reach. They will go ahead and next face Glen Elg, who beat Wild Lake tonight 21-7. Glen Elg will host that game. 2A West saw Walkersville, top seed, win over Century, while 3-seed Middletown upset Liberty 48-7. 2A South, Patuxent a winner tonight. The top-seeded Panthers beat Lackey 28-14. It was number 2 seed Calvert over number 3 seed Gwynn Park 42-28. So Calvert and Patuxent will face off next week. Elsewhere, 1A North, Havre de Grace, the top seed, beat Fairmont Heights 48-34. Also notable, the winner of that one hosts next week the winner of Surrattsville and McDonough. Surrattsville, the 2 seed, hosting tomorrow McDonough in that matchup. We'll go ahead and check in with Virginia, maybe join with a guest right after this. Stay tuned. We'll hear it right here on the Final Drive. Remember, if you want to go ahead and check in with us, do it via Twitter. DMV Stream, hashtag it with the Final Drive. Again, that's DMV Stream, hashtag it with the Final Drive.
Looking for some of the best barbecue in the area? Well, then come on down to Monk's. Monk's Barbecue has all your favorites. Delicious pulled pork, tender, moist brisket, and dry rubbed ribs that just fall off the bone, as well as specialty items like pulled chicken, pastrami, and Kansas City burnt ends. Add in delicious sides like Monk's special baked beans, smoked Gouda mac and cheese, vinegar coleslaw, and many more, and you can't get any better. That's Monk's Barbecue in the heart of Loudoun County, online at monksq.com. That's monks and the letter Q.com. And go to their Facebook page to find out more about their live music and drinks. DMVSTREAM.com produces live broadcasts for professional, semi-pro, and amateur sporting events, as well as colleges, universities, high schools, AAU, and youth tournaments in the Mid-Atlantic. With a client list that includes ESPN, The Washington Post, Monumental Sports Network, CBS.com, USAFootball.com, USLacrosse.org, NCAA.com, the National Federation of High School Sports, and Georgetown University, among others, Synthesis Multimedia has emerged as the Mid-Atlantic's top provider of sports multimedia. Contact us today to learn more about streaming your events live.
Are you a fan of high school sports? Does high school sports attract the type of customers you want for your business? If so, then consider advertising here on The Final Drive. The Final Drive on DMVStream.com is a weekly show dedicated to high school football in the District, Maryland, and Virginia. We update scores and talk to the movers and shakers from Friday night's top games, and we preview the big matchups from Saturday's action. So consider being a part of The Final Drive. For more information about advertising on the final drive, contact Jeremy Huber at jrh0001@gmail.com. That's jrh0001@gmail.com.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to an all-new season of Top Plays here at allmetsports.com and WashingtonPost.com. I'm your host, BJ Kubarulis. Now, as we've done the past 4 seasons, we're continuing our exciting interactive high school football show that allows you, the coaches, players, parents, and fans, and others, to send in your video submissions for ranking in our Top 10 style weekly show. If you want to see your highlight in this show, well, it's as simple as tweeting your boy. I'm at BJ Koob. You got to remember to hashtag it, Ole Mets. All right, you can tweet in your Huddle, YouTube, Vimeo, really any video link by Sundays at noon, and we'll consider it for use in the upcoming episode of Top Plays. Now, you got to remember to tune in on Mondays to see if your video made our top 10 at allmetsports.com. We'll see you soon.
Welcome back into the final drive here on DMVSTREAM.com. And as we mentioned before we went to break, be joined by a special guest. We're now joined by the head coach of the Archbishop Spalding Cavaliers. Winners tonight over Mount St. Joseph's 55-20, Kyle Schmidt. Coach Schmidt, thank you so much for joining us on the show tonight.
No problem, man. Thanks for having me, Jeremy.
Yeah, and I really was impressed by this game for you guys. Obviously didn't get a chance to see it, but following along. And when you think about the loss to St. Francis last week, you come back, your guys play a rivalry game tonight, and they seemed keyed up for it. How were you able to get your guys back up to that level that you needed after what had to be a little bit of a deflating loss?
Well, it had been 2 weeks, actually. We played Gilman last week. So we played St. Francis 2 weeks ago and lost to them. Played Gilman last week, and then this one, the rivalry game against St. Joe's tonight. So our kids are up for every game. We got a great group that frankly just love to play. And the St. Francis loss was tough. You played a really poor first half and came back and nearly pulled it off in the second half. But our guys are resilient. We're really young, and we got an incredibly good team that I'm excited to coach. And we had some seniors tonight that we wanted to send off right. Mainly our quarterback, Evan Foxman, who I think is one of the best players in the state. And the idea of putting him, ending his career with a big win was motivation enough.
Most definitely. You're able to knock off Mount St. Joe's by a nice margin there. Talk a little bit about Evan. Again, a lot of folks know his name, what he's been able to do. He's got some pretty good offers. What kind of player is he for your team?
Yeah, for us, we're pretty multiple on offense. A lot of zone read, a lot of package plays, and run pass options. For me, he's like a point guard. Frankly, he puts the ball, it just goes where it should be, play after play after play. I'm actually with our coaches right now, and we were just discussing how you call play. There's multiple options. We're really, in essence, a triple option team. And he just puts the ball where it's got to be. He makes great decisions. He's incredibly explosive running the football. Very precise as a passer, but his knowledge of the offense is pretty special. And he's just the model kid. He's everything you want. I was telling some people tonight, I remember watching Greg Popovich this summer talk about Tim Duncan retiring and talking about how great he was and almost looked sad and depressed that he was leaving. And there's a little bit of that in me as I see Evan, play his last game as a Spalding player. He started 30 games for us. He was responsible for nearly 80 touchdowns in the last 3 years. He was an incredible kid to coach, and I think he'll have plenty of great offers here. Some military academies that are the best in the country, and I think he'll definitely. I'll be attending a couple banquets with him this off season for some Player of the Year and things like that. So he's what Spalding football is all about. He's a great model.
Yeah, and obviously this program has kind of come up, and he's been a big reason for it. Coach, can you look at where you guys have come from and really moved up the ranks of the MIAA and really been a competitor for that league championship this year? Can you kind of take a look at the evolution of your program, where it was when you got it, where it is now?
Yeah. So, when I got there was a great culture of football at Spalding. Mike Whittles, who was there, coach before me and passed away due to pancreatic cancer. The culture was great. The kids loved football. They felt really strongly about the program. What I think we did was we kept that toughness in the culture, And what we tried to build on it was with a little more recruiting. We recruited, I felt, a little more skill, and we felt we want to be really strong up front, and that's huge for us. Since I was at Appleton for 4 years, and now my offensive line coach, Ed Tyler, our strength coach, Scott Swope, we want to be good in the trenches, and we want to be really tough. We have a mantra. We call ourselves the toughest team in Maryland, and our kids bought into that. So to build on that, we went through a 3-8 season my second year where we started a lot of freshmen and a lot of sophomores, and that was tough. And Evan felt some of the brunt of that as a quarterback. Last year we built it. We had a great senior class. That started to get us over the hump, and I think we really did that this year. I mean, we lost 2 games by a total of 9 points this season. One to Good Counsel. I don't think we quite found our way early on in the season, and then the heartbreaker St. Francis. So we've gotten this thing to where we're a nationally ranked program. We're going to get top 100 and top 5 in the state, and we're really young. We lose about a total of 5 starters, I think, this year. We started 3 sophomores in our secondary tonight, 4 total sophomores on defense. We started a redshirt or true freshman. We started a freshman at left guard, and we got a quarterback coming up that we think is a pretty good ball player. We had a big touchdown for us tonight in Jade Numbarger. So the future's bright. Our tailback's a hell of a player, Julius Chestnut. So we think we're just getting started. I got an incredible staff, and we're all actually kind of recapping the season together here tonight at one of our coaches' houses, and we're going to take a couple weeks off and get right back at it. So study as much as we can, get better schematically. We'll make some visits to colleges in this year, and that's something that we're really big on. But player development's huge for us. We're not going to build through transfers. We're going to build through stealing kids. That's not what we're about. We're going to build it with Anne Arundel County, Howard County, some Bowie kids, some Baltimore kids. And, we'll be out recruiting some youth games tomorrow, and that's what it's all about in private school football. You got to continue to build a brand and a culture, and I think we're doing that, and we got great support at our school.
Well, you definitely have that, Kyle. And again, you came awfully close to an MIA championship this year. And at least from the sound of things, you're going to have a good chance to make a run at one next year. Congratulations on the good season, and thank you so much for joining us on the show.
All right. Thanks, Jeremy. I appreciate it, man. Thanks for everything you're doing for high school football in the area.
Thank you, Coach. Yeah, Kyle Schmidt, very good coach there at Archbishop Spalding. Oh, so close, that really close game against St. Francis. They lose it late, but again, building some really good things at Spalding, and they kind of have that little bit of maybe an advantage over some of the other Baltimore schools in the fact that they're just inside the Washington Post coverage area. They're kind of out there, but as he said, some of those counties in Anne Arundel County and in Bowie area, they kind of catch some of the folks. They catch some notice from the Washington area, so may help you bring in a few more quality kids and make a run at a pretty good season for that school. Well, let's go ahead and finish things off with one last look at the schools in Virginia in their playoffs tonight, as we had a lot of action with Virginia teams as we wrap things up on the final drive. Okay, 6A South, as we mentioned before, it's only some of the schools from in Prince William County. They both fall tonight. Hilton falls to Colonial Forge 23-0, while Freedom of Woodbridge saw their Cinderella season end with a 28-21 loss to Riverbend. One other notable from 6A South, top seed in conferences 1 and 2, Oscar Smith, a 21-14 win. So Oscar Smith wins, but maybe not as impressive as some thought. So of course they could we'll end up seeing one of the teams from 6A North. We'll see if it's Oscar Smith or a different squad. But again, a lot of teams would be loving to face off with Oscar Smith, means they have a chance to play for a state championship. Speaking of 6A North, all 8 top seeds win in 6A North in a crazy year. Everything holds serve in the first round. Top seed Lake Braddock comes back from a 14-0 deficit to beat Robinson 35-14. 2 seed James Madison over Washington Lee 26-8. It was 3 seed Westfield beating WT Woodson 45-7. 4 seed South Lakes over Oakton 54-14. 5 seed Centerville routs Mount Vernon 57-0. Number 6 seed South County, after some early struggles, beats Battlefield 34-12. Number 7 seed West Potomac, despite losing Mark Ellis, the quarterback, they beat TC Williams 26-0. Number 8 seed Hayfield with a late touchdown as they beat Patriot 30-26. 5A North saw number 1 seed Massaponax rout number 16 seed Marshall 77-34. 2 seed Brook Point a winner over Mountain View 47-21. It was Stonebridge a winner over Atlee 38-10. Though the Bulldogs trailed at the half 3-0. 4 seed Potomac Falls over Orange County 28-7. 5 seed Albemarle beats Falls Church 31-21. 6 seed Broad Run knocked off Tuscarora 42-21. 10 seed North Stafford pulls the upset as they beat Patrick Henry of Roanoke 44-21. While it was 8 seed Patrick Henry of Ashland over 9 seed Briar Woods 53-28. So your matchups in 5A North next week. It'll be top seeded Massaponax taking on Patrick Henry of Ashland. Brook Point will take on North Stafford, while it'll be Stonebridge hosting Broad Run. So Battle of Ashburn again, and then Potomac Falls will welcome in Albemarle in their game. 4A West, the top 4 seeds get by. So Woodgrove, William Byrd, Salem, and Dominion all off tonight. Number 5 seed Amherst beat Pulaski County 49-28. 6 seed Millbrook over Loudoun Valley 45-14. 7 seed George Washington, they get beat by Heritage of Leesburg 39-36. It's the Pride's first win in playoff win in school history. 8 seed Charlottesville beat John Champ 48-20. So your matchups next week: Charlottesville goes to Woodgrove. It'll be Heritage at William Byrd. Millbrook travels to Salem, and Dominion will go ahead and host Amherst next week. Elsewhere, locally of note, Brentsville a winner tonight as they beat Thomas Jefferson of Richmond by a score of 51-0. They are going to go ahead and get the winner of James Monroe and George Wythe. Elsewhere, real quickly recapping those games from earlier in 6A North, those matchups again for you. It'll be Lake Braddock. They'll be in action. They will host Hayfield next week. So that is should be a high-scoring matchup there. Madison will welcome in West Potomac. It'll be Westfield bringing in South County next week, and then South Lakes will welcome in Centerville. So that is really a fun slate there where, again, all 4 games in 6A North, they will all be with teams from different districts. So no district repeating. That is fun. That should be some awesome games next week. We'll be looking at them very closely and hopefully keeping you up to date on every single one of them. Maryland, Virginia, everything else. WCAC, get a preview of that one hopefully as well. Should be a fun week on the Final Drive. That's going to go ahead and do it for us here on the Final Drive. Again, thank you so much to our guests who joined us on the show tonight. Heritage head coach Reed Prosser joining us on the show. Also, Richard Montgomery head coach Josh Klotz after their big win over Northwest, as well as the head coach of the Spalding Cavaliers, Kyle Schmidt, after their rivalry game win over Mount St. Joe's tonight. Thank you so much to him as well for joining us on the show. That's going to do it for the Final Drive. Again, I'm Jeremy Huber. We will see you next week on the show as we get deeper into the playoffs, and also we'll crown champion in the WCAC and some of the other conferences as well. So stay tuned for that next week. Again, I'm Jeremy Huber, and this has been the Final Drive here on DMVSTREAM.com.